Well, g'day everyone. My name's Geoff McDonald, and it's my great pleasure today to have a chat to some guys in a demographic that probably don't talk much about mental health, and particularly around men's health. So I'll introduce them shortly, but just to let you know where we are, we're out at Toowoomba Wellcamp Airport, Toowoomba, Queensland, Australia, where you can travel from Toowoomba to the world. There's some 80 flights per week, and only opened in November of 2014. So it's a remarkable story in its own right. First publicly accessible airport built since Tullamarine some 50 years ago, and only publicly accessible airport built by a private family, the Wagner family. So very pleased to say that we're here today with, on my right, we have Outback Creative. We've got Charles and we've got Ranald. Thank you very much, you guys, for coming along. We'll have a chat with you shortly. And introducing on my left, we have Trade Mutt. We've got Dan and we've got Ed. Thanks very much for coming along today.
How are you?
Yeah. Now, you guys have flown directly in from Melbourne.
No.
Well, we flew in from Brisbane.
No, we drove up from Brisbane.
So it's fantastic to have you guys here. Just chill out for a bit and we'll have a chat with these guys and then come back, and then we'll have a conversation between us. But as I say, the demographic that they are is that critical one that don't often talk about mental health. But Outback Creative, firstly to you guys, just tell us a little bit about your story, where you're at today and where you'd like to hope that Outback Creative heads in the future, and the link with mental health.
Yeah, well, I guess Outback Creative has its roots in that man there. I was sort of out in the bush daydreaming a little bit of a way out of a traditional industry in the bush, and I wanted to become a photographer. And so that's a pretty common path for creative bushies. They want to use that creative tendency in their brain and put it out there, instead of being in that environment, constrained in that environment. So initially it just started as a social media page, and then grew humbly from there. And Charles came on board in early 2017 and really spearheaded the growth into something more tangible and impactful as a brokerage or online sales platform.
So, and this is the crux of it, I guess. You're an opportunity for people to sell their art online, predominantly, and the linkage to the bushy, being your logo and what have you, and then this beautiful artwork. Just tell us about how artists get in contact with you guys, who you choose, and how that actually works.
Well, we have we try and go the rural premium side, so we want to select basically full-time artists, people that put a lot of time into their craft. So we like to get the best at telling the story of the bush. But lots of people contact us, but we sort of filter through a bit of a criteria of like where, if they grew up in the bush, how much they know about the bush. Like we have people from Brisbane and all like Melbourne and stuff as well. But they mainly like grew up. So we have to tell the best story, I guess. And we want to select a premium group of 100 next year we're looking at, and then we'll expand from there. But our platform stands to, it's like an omni-channel marketing tool. It's both online and in events. So we get people to follow the story online. We get them to look at their artwork, but most people have to see it in person to want to buy it. So we're taking them to events and galleries next year and this year as well to see the artwork in the flesh, have a look at it, and then go and follow the story online, and then eventually down the line they might go to the next event and be convinced of a sale. So,
and we talk about the Outback, it's the bushy scene and what have you, because the nation, and particularly Outback Queensland at the moment, is in the grips of drought. So the linkage between art and mental health, and you mentioned it, Ranald, in regard to an opportunity to get away from the norm. And immerse yourself in it.
There's a lot of pressure in the bush trying to make a livelihood from a unpredictable, you're up against the elements, and this can be a real escape out of that allows you to produce something beautiful out of sometimes some pretty dark emotions and stress that can come hand in hand with the bush.
Have you guys had that experience? Have you spoken to folk in the Outback that this has been a real life opportunity for them to escape that and be part of this scene where maybe they hadn't been in the past?
Yeah, well, a lot of our artists do depict the drought well in their paintings, but unfortunately we can't sell them because no one wants to buy drought paintings, obviously. But a lot of our artists do, like in beautiful watercolour, try and show, like, I guess, the the vastness of the bush and just like, I don't know, how desolate it can be out there. Yeah. Like they can capture it well, but unfortunately we don't like to promote that art too much because, it's not what everyone would like to see. But, talking to artists, art is a tool of externalising emotion. So it's getting it out of you and putting it on the canvas or in words. So there's a thing called narrative therapy in psychology, which does a lot of the same thing. It creates personas in which people create and externalise the problem and then, put it out of themselves and then explain it to other people. An example with this here is that we've got, obviously, the creative process starting up, but there's quite dark tones to the painting, and you can see it's all shaped into basically a tunnel. And in the distance here, you've got the light. So the whole theme of Eleonora Pulcini's paintings from Melbourne is that it's the light at the end of the tunnel. So you can see the brightness there, and she's gone, obviously artists are probably one to speak about really well about mental health, as it is probably most of it's a part of the creative process, is really getting those dark emotions out there and telling the story. I think, for artists coming from a deep place, darkness takes you to a deep place within yourself in which you're able to express better, from what I gather from talking to my artists. But
there's links between using creativity can steer an artist type or a creative type away from addiction towards creating art.
Yeah, and I think that's the link today. So you guys will be one of the market stalls at Unleash the Beast on the 10th of October, and I understand that you're about to launch your first coffee table book, and will it have pictures of the art in it?
Yeah, well, it's gonna have art from each artist. It has three artworks from each artist plus a blurb about their artworks, and it's just a really benchmark of what we're hoping to achieve into the future.
Yeah, terrific. And I guess looking into the future, you mentioned earlier that you'll be going to art galleries and you'll have exhibitions around the place. Have any ideas where they might be yet?
Well, I've actually had the fortunate pleasure of working for an event hire company, and I've been able to see some of the openings that could come up with events around Toowoomba and the surrounds. But potentially we make a bit of a win of this area, Toowoomba and Brisbane, then...
So Hampton Festival, and we're looking at Ween Gala next year, and probably this year, Wellness Symposium, and Bush Christmas in Toowoomba as well. Good. So just try and get all the big events around Toowoomba, and then be promoting and then taking everyone back onto our website and Facebook to follow our stories.
But there's enough to sustain us for, I think, at least half a year around Toowoomba and Brisbane. And
but people can jump online. They can have a look at all this. What's the address?
It's outbackcreative.com.au.
Fantastic. Good on you guys.
Online, you'll find all of our stories.
Looking forward to you being part of the Unleash the Beast. It'd be fantastic to have you here. So well done. There is another question I'm going to tie both groups into at the finish, but for the time being, let's have a chat with the Trade Mutt boys. Now, how are you going, fellas?
Mate, fantastic. We've been waiting with bated breath.
I bet you have. Now, this has been an amazing little story. Just share your story with everyone, why you came up with these great shirts and other apparel, and how quickly that's happened.
Yeah, well, I guess as tradies ourselves, Ed was an apprentice of mine. We're both carpenters. In late 2016, I lost one of my best mates to suicide. Opened up my eyes and our eyes to just how bad of a situation it can be for blokes in this country, and particularly in the trade industry. And we had an idea to give tradies the opportunity to look, feel different, express themselves a bit, just change the norm. We know what tradies look like, high vis, all that sort of stuff. Why not give them a chance to look a bit different, and in doing so, start conversations about mental health. So social enterprise is something that we weren't aware of, until we started this process, and figured that we could create a cool brand and affect a socially conscious issue.
Yeah. And I guess, Ed, when you jumped into this, you brought another level of interest as well. What did you bring to the table?
Well, I was fortunate enough to, I was working the territory for 3 years, and I was down at Marcus Oldham for a year and did agribusiness. So I had the business side of things, and Dan and I were always on the tools and working together for 4 years, and we're always coming up with different ideas of stuff that we thought would be, good business potential. And then, we came across the idea of making some funky new work shirts, and then as Dan touched on, we came across what social enterprise was and how there was like a growing shift in the business arena of, there's a big business has a bad name. It's been tainted really bad. Like you think about Woolies and Coles and all that sort of stuff. They're just big business and don't give back to anyone. And we didn't want to be like that. We wanted to be someone that actually cared. It wasn't about the bottom line. It was about us giving back as much as we could. So we came up with a funky work shirt design and tied it in with the loss of Dan's mate and making, raising awareness about mental health and just normalising it. So we've been on a really cool journey.
Look, you've hit it on the head, and I guess I mentioned in the intro, we don't talk about it.
No.
It's hidden away, it's that dark secret.
Yeah.
But this is an opportunity, as you say, it's a conversation starter.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
And that's another thing that you guys are getting involved in, and I know some of the funds that are raised, 5%
5% of our profits,
that. Just tell us a bit about that, how that works.
Yeah, so so what we're doing at the moment is selling all our apparel. 5% of all our profits are going into mental health initiatives, and we're aiming to get a pay it forward system up and running soon for people that can't afford it. It'll be like a slush fund, and we've partnered with a guy down in Melbourne called Nick Sutherland, who runs a program called MindFit, and he's basically just been teaching Dan and I the heavier crux of about mental health. So just normalising it, and understanding the back end of it, because Dan and I, just as we know, were just two chippies, but we knew we wanted to make a change. Nick reached out to us because we were getting such an awesome run in the media. And said, you guys are raising so much awareness. He's like, I can come on the back end and actually help affect change through education and knowledge. So our idea always was not last cause, because it's like Lifeline, Beyond Blue. These are great organisations, but it's small last cause where MindFit and Trade Mutt have both got the same idea of at the beginning. So with knowledge and education, we all have mental health like we have physical health. So it's important of just educating people and understanding that if you're having a bad day, there's everyone else there could be having a bad day as well. So it's not to feel isolated and alone. It's about being able to come up to someone and have a chat, and these shirts are that centrepiece of those conversations to get started. Yeah,
so it'd be fair to say that it's more of a proactive measure as well to deal with things.
Exactly right. Yeah, and what we're trying to do through the brand and through the shirts is taking a light-hearted approach, taking a fun approach, I guess, to it, because the reality is as Ed said, we all have mental health. A lot of people don't realise that. There's a difference between mental illness and mental health. And the way that we talk about all this stuff now, over the past 3 months has changed so much. As Ed said, we've sort of been under the tutelage of Nick Sutherland from MindFit in Melbourne, and has really changed our perception and our language around talking about mental health. The word stigma is thrown around a lot, but the reality is the only stigma with mental health is the word stigma. We don't use that word. We've all got it. It's just our perception, our understanding of it. So as much as we can normalise it and talk about it and realise that we've all got it, then we can better learn how to manage ourselves and practice mental wellness. And as Ed says, education as a preventative rather than dealing with people in crisis mode as a last port of call. If we can better educate ourselves about how our minds work and how we can practice mental wellness, it's going to go a long way to
stemming the rate of suicide.
Small problems snowballing into big problems.
Like it's a remarkable story, I have to say. You guys are tradies, and you're almost now teachers of doing something that has hit a chord with you, Dan. Exactly. If that may not have happened to one of your mates, you may not be sitting here talking about.
No, we wouldn't be sitting here doing this.
We've been in some situations where we've just been out to Tennant Creek. We were the guest speakers at the Barclay beef dinner.
You pinch yourself,
mate. We're driving out there doing 130 on the Northern Territory highways, and
that is the speed limit.
And we're going, mate. And so my mate, whose name is also Dan, we're just saying, mate, he would just be sitting up there having the biggest laugh at this. Look at what they're doing. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, it's been, but so much stuff, and like the journey we've been on. It's sort of, as we're going through it, and we've been working through a social enterprise hub in Brisbane called Impact Academy, and it's you know, it's just the people that you meet and come forward. And it's like, Peter Ball, the guy, sort of a mentor for us, was saying, you know, it'll be amazing the people that come to you. Like, it's sort of, people are attracted to what you're doing. It's like-minded people come to you. And we've had so many people, so many great people who have come forward and we've partnered with, and we're just making hopefully real change. And
it's amazing what happens when you put yourself out there, you know? Like, at the end of the day, like, at the very least, we're just a funky new workwear brand, you know what I mean? Like, that's the bare minimum, but like what we've turned it into and what it's now become is something that, I mean, we know that we're exactly where we're supposed to be, you know? Everything in life has led us to this point, to be doing what we're doing, and we couldn't be happier to be those people, you know? We feel a real responsibility now to really stand up and keep this going and make a difference. And the stories that we've heard, the stories of people that have come to us, that just through a shirt, through wearing a colourful shirt, or knowing that, you know, you can't see mental health, but you can see this, and you know what this is about, you know? And I think that's the biggest thing. You can see when someone's got a broken arm. You can't see when they're, you know, a little bit broken in their head, but, you know, putting it out there and making it loud and vibrant is just, you know...
It's a start.
Just a start.
Like, it's amazing, and to hear those stories that people have come to you and said that, you know, you're actually... You know, I don't want to overstate it, but you're probably saving lives just by doing what you're doing.
Well, the crazy thing was, because Dan and I, you know, like, obviously these shirts are right out there, and we're like, you know, blokes at 18 through to maybe 25, you know, will be interested in buying them. We thought we'd be lumped with 1,500 shirts the rest of our lives, but we've already pretty much sold out of 1,500 of them.
Worst case scenario, we're going to have a lifetime supply of shirts to wear to work.
We met a bloke who bought a shirt. He's 54, I think. And he wore it up at Richmond Field Day up in North Queensland, and he was getting bailed up all day in his shirt. Wow!
He was wearing Mr. Feelgood. He was wearing this one.
He had two different cockies at, you know, separate times come up to him, asking him what the shirt was. Spoke to each of them for 45 minutes, and they were both in tears by the time. Wow. Like, that's powerful. And like after that, like Dan and I, like,
it's cool.
We've got a huge obligation to keep
this
it going.
This is the Mr. Feelgood. Yeah.
What's the other range?
There's the two others we've got is
the Coit.
The Coit.
The Coit. We're going to cease and desist.
It was the Russell Coit, but we were
Working Dog Productions in line.
They didn't come at us too hard because they understood what we were doing, so it was very polite.
And then the FAF is the third one. But we've got a campaign coming up as of next week, which is there's 4 new colourways we've got to choose from, and so people can get online and vote for them. They'll be coming out in November, and in time for Christmas. And the person who's the first to vote in the winning shirt design, Dan and I will be hand delivering it to anyone in Australia. So
hopefully it's somewhere in South America or something like that. We're going to go for a little trip.
That's big. Listen, we're going to have to wrap it up, but in doing so, you guys will be one of the stands at the moment.
One of the stands, yeah.
People will be able to buy shirts.
Buy shirts, T-shirts, caps.
You can jump online now and buy them as well.
Trademutt.com.
Trademark.com. Last one. I've got to throw this out there. There's a recent article that I'd read in Thrive Global by a lady called Greta Solomon, and she's talking about why creativity is the missing piece in the wellness puzzle. And you guys have just demonstrated to me, and I'm sure to the viewers, that art, creativity can make a difference.
Yep.
Would you agree that you're in that space?
100%.
Probably unknowingly.
Yeah.
100%. I think creativity and the ability to be able to express yourself is one of the most powerful things that you can do for your emotional well-being. You know, even just talking about things is one of the most powerful things you can do for your state of mind, you know. So any way you can express it, art, music, vibrant shirts, all this kind of stuff, it's such a healthy way to be able to express what's inside your head.
Good stuff. Well done, Trade Mutt. Good job. You guys want to have a quick mention on that one?
Yeah, I've read that same article, and it's just becoming increasingly more recognised as a wellness solution alongside exercise, diet, and all the traditional methods. So.
Yeah, well, and I guess when we look at teaching now in schools and education, it's all about STEM: science, technology, engineering, and maths. And I reckon we could add an A to that, and go full steam ahead.
And
put art in it,
and mental health could alongside PE.
Beautiful. Righto. Well, you can meet these guys October 10. Unleash the Beast. It is a Riding and Wellness Symposium. Funds raised will go to Lifeline Darling Downs Southwest, where they'll be delivering free counselling services as well for this very, very important subject. Get online, unleashthebeast.net.au. Come and meet these guys. Trade Mutt, Outback Creative. Looking forward to seeing you there.